Good evening. My name is Mary Lee Oliver, and I'm joined by Delaney Barrow. And tonight we'll have coverage from Auburn basketball taking down opponents from 2 conferences, gymnastics taking down another set of Tigers, and how one Auburn coach earned a new title that I'm sure he's proud to hold.
All that and more tonight on Sports Night in Auburn.
After a 2-game skid that caused Auburn to drop from as high as number 4 in the poll to number 16, Bruce Pearl brought the Tigers back home last week to take on 2 tough opponents in the South Carolina Gamecocks and the Iowa State Cyclones for the SEC Big 12 Challenge.
As Auburn looked to end their 2-game conference skid, Eagle Eye was there to bring you the highlights.
Auburn basketball bounced back after 2 straight game losses in SEC play. With a tremendous game from Devin Cambridge, the Auburn Tigers defeated the Gamecocks with a score of 80-67. Tonight, it was all about Devin Cambridge. He had a career high and led the team with a total of 26 points. The true freshman made shots, and according to head coach Bruce Pearl, the change for Cambridge was confidence and his teammates giving him space to shoot effectively. The crowd's excitement for the guard showed for itself. They gave him a standing ovation, and so did the starting lineup.
I have said that someday he could be our best player. I've said that. But I talked to him before the game tonight, and I was like, what are you waiting for?
Next up in total points was senior Javon McCormick. The point guard put up 13 for the Tigers and, as per usual, dominated in assists again. Tonight's game was a big turnaround for the Auburn Tigers. The start was slow, but eventually Auburn led against the Gamecocks, which was a change from their last 2 matchups against Alabama and Florida. Veteran Samir Daddy momentum rose in the second half, and overall the team improved from just 15 assists total from their last 2 games to a 17 assists tonight. Anthony Malcolmore had 7 rebounds that helped the Tigers defensively and have an advantage over South Carolina tonight. Better playmaking and a crowd on their side helped Auburn improve 16-2. This Saturday, Auburn will take on a tough Big 12 opponent, Iowa State, in Auburn Arena at 11 a.m. Central. This is Kennedy Gooden reporting for Eagle Eye TV.
After an exciting win on Wednesday, the students were lined up bright and early Saturday morning as the annual SEC Big 12 Challenge brought Iowa State into Auburn Arena for the 4th time in series history. Let's take a look at what went down. Auburn helped kick off the Big 12 SEC Challenge here in Auburn Arena against Iowa State. After 2 straight losses on the road last week, Auburn looked to regain momentum and rebuild their win streak. After an early 4-0 lead by Iowa State, Auburn responded with 4 straight 3-pointers. This was all the momentum the Tigers needed after struggling in the first half this season. Anthony McLemore led in scoring with 9 points for Auburn in the first half, shooting 3 for 4 from the 3-point line. While Auburn had a comfortable 42-31 lead going into halftime, Iowa State came out hot with a 10-0 run, bringing the game within 7. With 2 big score runs from Isaac Okoro and Samir Dowdy, the Tigers were able to walk away with the 80-76 victory. With the win, Auburn improves to 17-2. The Tigers will travel to Ole Miss on Wednesday night before hosting Kentucky here next Saturday. From Auburn Arena, I'm Mary Lee Oliver, Eagle Eye TV. After 2 wins in the past week, Auburn unfortunately dropped a spot in the weekly AP poll, moving from 16 to 17.
The Tigers have been as high as number 4 in the poll so far this season, and now they aim to creep back into the spots they've already been this year. Bruce Pearl aims to have the Tigers keep up their current streak as they head on the road this week. Mary Lee, do you think this drop in the poll was fair to Auburn?
I don't believe it was fair to Auburn, considering that there are 8 teams ranked ahead of Auburn that have a worse record than Auburn. I think that proves that Auburn's definitely worthy of at least moving up a spot or 2 in the poll. This was definitely not what I predicted would happen, but we'll see if they can regain and move up in the poll after a few games.
As of right now, Andy Katz from the official NCAA March Madness website has Auburn as the 4th seed in the East region, slated to play Vermont in the first round of the 6-18 tournament. Where do you see this team going? How do you think they'll have to play in order to do what last year's team did?
I think at a minimum, Auburn will make it to the Sweet 16. I think they have a potential to be a back-to-back SEC championship winning team, but definitely they're going to have to gain confidence playing on the road. That's where Auburn has evidently struggled this year, and they struggle with slow starts, so they're going to have to come out quick, start making shots to gain confidence, and I think if they're able to do that, then they'll at a minimum make it to the Sweet 16 and possibly farther.
Coming up, we'll take a look at everything else from the Plains. Keep it right here on Sports Night in Auburn.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
I was living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
You can achieve a lot using your imagination. I mean, I don't like to brag, but... Wait, who's that? And why is she all over these achievement awards? But with STEM, the sky's the limit. Shaboom! Use STEM to envision. Okay, I'm seeing it. Yeah. Invent.
Got any ideas?
I've got a few, actually. And create a better world. Told you she's super smart. If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at She Can STEM.
Welcome back. Last Friday night, Coach Jeff Graba and Auburn Gymnastics welcomed in an in-conference rival to Auburn Arena as the Missouri Tigers came to town.
Eagle Eye was there to bring the highlights. Number 14 Auburn welcomed number 20 Missouri to the Auburn Arena and earned their second win of the season, taking down the visiting Tigers 196.7 to 196.65. Auburn notched a season-high final score along with season-best team scores on vault and bars. The Tigers started strong. In addition to the team season-high vault score 49.275, Drew Watson scored a personal best 9.95. The initial momentum is what propelled Auburn ahead, putting distance between the two Tiger teams early on. Another 49.275 came on the bars, along with another season-high team score. Freshman Aria Brush scored a 9.9, setting yet another personal record for the Tigers, while further proving the freshmen are able to carry the weight and expectations placed on them. On the beam, Auburn earned a 49.1, with 4 Tigers each scoring a 9.825. Even though it looked like Auburn's momentum was running out, the Tigers still managed to score just enough to keep the win out of Missouri's grasp. From the floor, Auburn earned a 49.05, which was just enough to get the job done. Despite Missouri's best efforts to catch up, the visiting Tigers were unable to catch Auburn's lead established in the first rotation. Drew Watson proved key to her team by starting strong, finishing strong, and giving Auburn the initial push they needed. The Auburn women's basketball team were off to a rough start to start conference play this season as the team welcomed in the Ole Miss Rebels to Auburn Arena last Thursday. Eagle Eye's own were there to bring you the story.
Auburn Tigers women's basketball team hosts the Ole Miss Rebels tonight at the Auburn Arena. Both teams look for an SEC win tonight.
The first half showed struggling offenses for both teams. Robin Britton shrunk first for the Tigers, hitting one from behind the arc to tie it 3-3. At the 2-minute mark in the first quarter, the Rebels increased their lead 18-12. However, Auburn did not lose momentum. Britton hits her second three-pointer with an assist by teammate Morgan Robinson. Unique Thompson goes up to the line and shows by 1 before the quarter ends. Opening up the quarter with an 18-17 Ole Miss lead, the second quarter was nothing more than miscommunication and turnovers. Auburn scored a mere 4 points while Ole Miss made only a layup with 55 seconds remaining in the first half. Coming out of halftime, the Tigers allowed the Rebels a layup in just 24 seconds. Coach Flo makes some adjustments on the sidelines and soon Auburn is up by 10 with Robin Britton leading her team. The Tigers destroy the defensive board as they hold Ole Miss to a 27.4 percentage from the floor. Auburn's Unique Thompson had 13 rebounds and her teammate Deja Alexander tallied 2 steals. Coach Flo is proud of her girls' ball movement as 3 players were double-digit scorers tonight.
Yeah, she's doing well. She's trying to run point. She's trying to get the team organized. But she's working really hard at it. I told her this game, which she didn't do at Georgia, I needed her to push the ball a little bit more. She was really trying to be a point guard. I had to remind her, you're really not a point guard, okay? But she was trying to be a point guard. But we're much better when Deja gets, especially if she gets the rebound. When she pushes it, it definitely puts the defense on their heels, and it gives us an opportunity to score easy.
Live from Auburn Arena, I'm Mackenzie Collins from Eagle Eye TV.
Auburn baseball continues to rack up preseason accolades as junior pitcher Tanner Burns has been named a second-team All-American by D1 Baseball.
Burns, who has also been named a first-team preseason All-American by Perfect Game and a second-team preseason All-American by Collegiate Baseball, is one of 6 starting pitchers from the Southeastern Conference to earn either first or second team recognition. A former Auburn great has made his way back to the Plains, this time in a coaching role, as Tim Hudson will serve as volunteer assistant and pitching coach for the Auburn baseball program, Butch Thompson announced.
Hudson said of the opportunity, quote, "I appreciate Coach Thompson for giving me the opportunity to join the great coaching staff at Auburn baseball."
Moving from one Auburn coach to another, Auburn football head coach Gus Malzahn announced last week that defensive coordinator Kevin Steele signed a new 3-year deal to keep him with the program through the 2022 season.
The new contract is set to pay Steele around $2.5 million per year, as he has definitely earned it, as over the last 4 years during his tenure, Auburn's defense has ranked in the top 20 nationally in scoring defense and is one of only 5 FBS programs to hold opponents under 20 points per game. Coming up, we'll take you through everything happening here on the Plains. Keep it right here. You're watching Sports Night in Auburn.
Your girls have been with you through every moment of your life. They were with you when you felt unbreakable, and with you when you had your heart broken. They were with you when you shared your love with the world, and with you when she became your world. They're still with you right now. But how well do you know them?
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes, and you come to mine. This is it, first impression, my way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all, if I could go back, I would. But I can't.
Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. Let's take a look at everything going on in Auburn this week. First, women's basketball is taking on Kentucky in Lexington tonight starting at 6 and can be seen on SEC Network.
On Tuesday, men's basketball heads up the road to Oxford to take on the Ole Miss Rebels at 8 p.m. The game can be seen on ESPNU.
On Thursday, women's basketball is back at it as they head to Starkville to take on Mississippi State. The game will be at 7 p.m. and can be seen on SEC Network Plus.
On Friday, track and field heads to Fayetteville to take part in the Razorback Invitational, and the event will last through the weekend. Equestrian heads to Davis, California to take on UC Davis at noon, and men's tennis heads to Minneapolis, Minnesota to take on the University of Minnesota.
Saturday is a big day for Auburn Athletics as women's tennis stays at home to compete with Georgia State at noon and Alabama A&M at 3 p.m. Equestrian heads to Fresno, California to take on Fresno State at 1 p.m. In the big one, with college game day in town for the first time ever, Auburn men's basketball will host the University of Kentucky in a top 25 matchup. The game will be at 5 p.m. and can be seen on ESPN. Before we go, we here at Eagle Eye would like to take a moment to send our condolences and prayers to everyone involved in the tragic helicopter crash in Calabasas, California. Those perished included NBA legend Kobe Bryant and his 13-year-old daughter Gianna. The other 7 victims were John Altobelli, his wife Carrie, and his daughter Alyssa, Christina Mauser, Sarah Chester, and her daughter Peyton, and the pilot Ara Zabayan. Bryant, a soul who meant so much to so many lives, leaves behind a legacy of not only accolades on the court, but also achievements off the court. In addition to being an 18-time All-Star and 5-time champion and 2-time NBA Finals MVP. Kobe was an Academy Award winner for his animated short, Dear Basketball, which was made after his retirement in 2016.
Kobe left behind a legacy of not only hard work and perseverance, but that of leadership and family-first orientation. Bryant was a father of 3 other daughters, Natalia Diamante, Bianca Bella, and Capri Kobe, who was born last June. Bryant will be missed by many around the globe, and his presence will not soon be forgotten.
That's all for tonight. Thank you for tuning in to this week's Sports Night in Auburn. Be sure to stay up to date with us on our website, eagleeyeauburn.com, on Twitter at EETV_sports, and on Instagram at EagleEyeTV. I'm Mary Lee Oliver.
And I'm Delaney Barrow. War Eagle and good night.